Amen. I say hallelujah. Is that having a song? Yeah, any about. Yeah, because I have a simple song. I put a hand together and sing that song. And say, glory to God. Hallelujah. Glory to God. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
Ni kalau bisa tidak diutuhkan apa itu apa yang baru yang kita akan menjadi untuk tidak berdebat. Akuan untuk ni untuk cuma ni aku siapa saharu orang saya. Kalau dia pun nanti ada kenasi, umur orang punya boleh beru punya ini benar. Orang nanti baik macam ni kan. Kalau kalau manusia itu main ni mereka apa yang ni, kalau jiwa kita tu mereka tu, dia bolehชี้sesuatu. The guest, Dr. Victor Babishi, is available. I think we're going to take the first talk, which is youth inclusiveness in community leadership.
Okay. Tuma.
Yes.
Tuma. Okay, Doctor, we have to switch the speaker, is it 3? The value system with Dr. Victor. Dr. Victor has been here for the past 2 hours. And exactly now he had another appointment. So he had to leave. So we're gonna switch him with Dr. Anu Ojo.
Okay, let me take this opportunity to appeal to every one of you for the patience. The silence, the medical Barako, we read and we have to attend the foreigner service, and it just started. That's exactly why we are here. On his behalf of the leadership, I want to sincerely apologize. Okay, so can we have Dr. Ojo to take us on the value system and community development?
It's just joining in now. Like, just giving 1 or 2 minutes to join us, because this is a last minute thing. I was going to have Prof start, but since our guests, they are on specific and tight schedule, we just missed the first one. So I was trying to get hold of the second one before anything other thing come up. So he's logging in now. Because I was just trying to have him switch, and he just consented. Just give us 2 minutes. He will join us, and we will start with him. Prof is always with us here. So please, let's take care of these other people that can have other things that will be a problem.
Yes, no problem.
Yes.
Is the guy. Oh, yeah, before that, Prof.
Dr. Anu is logging in now. Is logging in now. Maybe connection system. So if he comes, I think it's easier to start with him.
Yes.
With us.
I've agreed.
Badivo, man. You know, Dr. Victor, I pity him because he has a very terrible schedule today. And I think Dr. Anu has just joined. Dr. Anu has just joined. So we will just give him 1 or 2 minutes to settle down and we're good to go. Welcome, Dr. Anu.
Thank you very much, sir.
Sorry for the inconvenience. You know, logistic issues, but we are here now, and it's good.
Beautiful.
Elder Tuma, I think we are ready. We are set. We will start with the top 3, the value system today. I'll work out what we can do with the first talk, which was to be youth inclusiveness.
Okay.
Over to you.
Okay, Dr. Ojo, you are welcome. We are ready to listen to you as we take the topic, value systems and community development.
Welcome, Ojo.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Amen. Good. I think it's afternoon, evening.
Nigeria.
So in Nigeria, yeah.
Yes, and good morning in America.
And good morning in America. Fantastic. And I mean, what could be better than living in this day and age where everyone from different parts of the world can be together in one place, and we are, you know, converging to have this amazing leadership summit. My name is Anu Ojo. I'm a medical doctor by training, but a passionate value system crusader by calling. I found something not just to live for, but I found a cause to die for. And I'm very sorry. I'm very privileged to be here. Thanks to my friend, brother, Mr. Tsuka Baribo for the invitation. And I would also like to give my recognition to His Royal Highness, who is I'm aware that he's with us right now. And I think at least from where I'm from in Nigeria, it's important to give respect and honor to whom honor is due. So I would like to recognize the presence of His Royal Highness Mene Kadilo Kabari. Good afternoon to you, sir. It's a privilege to be speaking and to have you listen to me today. And I'm also aware that the local government chairman is around, Honorable Confidence Deco. Good afternoon to you. Thank you so very much for this amazing opportunity to deliver on a subject that I'm passionate about. I'm a Nigerian, and I guess everyone who is listening to me is also a Nigerian. And guess what? I'm not just a Nigerian. I am a proud Nigerian. I never understood the importance of being a proud Nigerian until I left the shores of Nigeria 2010. And then I traveled to Europe here because I'm currently in Ukraine. And I came here to study. And when I came here, you know, imagine you being like the only Black person amongst thousands of white people.
Sea of white people. They see of white people.
A sea of white people. And then it does something to you, especially if you're someone who recognize difference and appreciates difference. It makes you realize your uniqueness and appreciate it, because you stand out, you know, and then people are very curious to know who you are, where are you from, because that's like the first question they always ask me. So when they meet me, they might not want to know my name. They want to know, where are you from? And then I have the opportunity to introduce to them my beautiful and beloved country, Nigeria. So I'm a proud Nigerian. And another reason why I am a proud Nigerian is because guess what? I am from the western side of Nigeria. I'm actually from Ekiti State. And today, I am on a platform speaking to my brothers from another side of Nigeria, you know, and that talks about the unity that we share and the unity that must be emphasized and that we must appreciate. You know, there's so much beauty in diversity. And when I think of Nigeria and I think of the diversity that we have in Nigeria, I think that's one of our very strong advantage, that we're a people with diverse culture, diverse identity, and there's so much we can do if we come together in unity and have a Westerner speak to my brothers who are from Rivers State today, and you're willing to hear me. Why? Because you don't see if I'm Western or Northern. All you see is that you see a Nigerian brother whose name is Anu Ojo. So it's a pleasure to be here, and I'm so grateful for this opportunity to speak to everyone who is in this leadership summit. But before I get into my subject for today, I would like to get a confirmation from everyone who is listening to me, both those who are on Zoom and everyone who is on site. Please, can you hear me loud and clear?
Yes.
Yes, can hear you.
Fantastic. Thank you so very much for the feedback. Today, I'll be speaking on the subject of value systems, and more precisely on how this subject of value system can literally catapult Barako community to becoming one of the leading communities in the whole of Nigeria. Believe me, I'm not saying this because I want to say something that sounds nice to the ears. I'm saying this because I know the power of the subject of value systems. That any community, any individual, any nation that would get it right when it comes to value systems, that nation or that community or that individual has no choice but to be amongst the greats. And today, I'm hoping by the grace of God and by the grace of the leadership in this amazing community, that this topic will not just be one of those topics that you listen to, you get excited about, and then you forget. But I'm hoping, and I believe that I'm speaking to the right set of people who are ready to take this community to the next level. People who are ready to take actions. Why? Because it's a principle in life. The people who get results are not the people who know a lot. The people who get results in life are people who know, but more importantly, they take actions on what they know. So I believe I'm speaking to the right set of people who are not just interested in having a seminar, but people who are committed to making Barako community one of the greatest community, not just in the States, but in Nigeria as a whole. So why not let's dive into the subject of today: value systems, and how getting the right value systems can lead to tremendous community development.
Sorry, Dr. Anu,
Yes.
if you had a slice and you want to share, you are free to
It's
do
fine.
so.
I'm going to speak from my heart.
Okay, good.
I'm going to speak from my heart. Don't worry. I'm going to speak from my heart. I want to start with the story of a country that was once disregarded. A country that, if you read their history and where they're coming from and some of the challenges they've gone through, there is no reason why they should be amongst one of the top leading countries of the world today. But guess what? The subject of today is one of the reasons why today everybody knows the nation that I'm about to talk about. And that nation is Japan. A very quick story about Japan and how they got to where they are today. I mean, everybody knows about Toyota. And I'm sure that seated here are people who drive cars that are made and produced in Japan. I'm almost sure that almost everybody here has some appliances, Samsung or any of those Japanese appliances in their houses, and they are proud and they are happy about it because of the quality of some of these Japanese products. Guess what? Years ago, the Japanese were not always producers of high quality products. As a matter of fact, there was a time they were just more interested about producing just anything. So let's say they needed to make a earphone. They were more interested about just getting a earphone produced. They were not fixated and they were not concerned about quality. All they wanted to do was just, let's get products and let's make money. Let's get products and let's get money. But what happened? When they started exporting their products out, they realized that they were exporting a lot, but when the final consumers got these products, the products were not lasting because they used them for a brief moment of time and the products get spoiled. So because of that, over a period of time, the Japanese markets experienced a major decline because people were not interested in getting any product from Japan. But it got to a time when, after the major blast, the Hiroshima blast that happened in Japan that destabilized the whole system. So they brought in some Americans to kind of, live there and to train them and to help them get back to their feet, because America, of course, loves to be the big brother. So they got there, and one of the things that the Japanese realized about the Americans when they got to Japan and they were involved in the process of production was that they realized that the Americans were more concerned about getting quality products and doing great work, and not just about quantity, but quality was something that they noticed the Americans were always focused on. And over a period of time, with the Americans living with them, eating with them, working with them, what happened? There was a shift in their understanding. And rather than being just interested and focused on wanting to just get any kind of product out, just any kind of product, either it's good or it's low or it's bad. So they were like, oh, now we need to start looking into getting quality products so that anytime our product goes out, as soon as people see made in Japan, that's it. They would buy our products. Why? Because they've come to trust that we are producers of not just any kind of gadgets, but we are producers of quality gadgets. We are producers of excellent gadgets. And that's why today, look around you, like I mentioned earlier, you'd see a lot of Japanese products. And I'm talking about products ranging from automobiles to products in either it's household appliances, you know, just any kind of product from Japan. Is it Toyota? Is it Honda? Is it Mitsubishi? Just any product that you get from Japan, you know you are getting a good product. And that decision, that change in their mindset, that change in their worldview, that change in the way they do what they do led to a major increase in their gross domestic products. They got increase in their exports revenue, and they started growing fast. Why did I share this story? It is because of the statement I made earlier, and I would repeat that statement for emphasis' sake. If my beloved people of Barako community would take today's discussion very serious, I repeat, this community would stand tall, not just in the state of Rivers, but it will stand tall in Nigeria as a whole. Because I believe that we have the right people here listening to me. So let's start with the very first thing. We are all members here. Everyone listening to me, we belong to this community. So, and what we are looking forward, I believe we all have one goal. I believe everyone who is here listening to me has one goal. And the goal is we want our community to be developed. We want progress in our community. With the raising of hands, I want to confirm if I'm speaking to the right people. Am I speaking to people who want development in this beautiful community? I would like to see your hands. Okay, I can see a few hands. Beautiful. Awesome. Thank you. Great. So I'm happy I'm speaking to the right people. The first thing that we must pay attention to is what is the identity that we have as a people. We must answer the question, who are we as members of this amazing Barako community? We must answer the question of community identity. What or who better are we? What do I mean? If I go out and I say I am a member of Barako community, how should I present myself? What would people see? And they say, with the way you are talking, with the way you're behaving, with the kind of respect you are showing to me, with the way you are hardworking, you look like people from the Barako community. What is our identity as a people? Listen, a people without an identity would achieve nothing in life. See, we cannot do anything if we don't know who we are. What defines us as a people? It's not just enough to say, oh, I am from this community because my father is from this community, or because I was born in this community. What information do I get from that? How do I make or take any advantage of that? Because you were born in the community, and so I want to know you by the values that are upheld by the Barako community. So anybody that claims to be a son of this land, is there a list of some character traits or some values that identifies us as members of this community? Take, for example, I don't know if you already have this, but I want to believe that you have it. Let's say, I'll give an example of myself as a Yoruba man, from the western side. In our part of Nigeria, we are very big on respect. Very big on respect. Very big. So when you see a Yoruba man, we used to say dobale, going on the floor, saying hello, sir, egwami, sir. Yoruba man. Because that is an identity that we uphold as Yoruba people. We are people of respect. We are people who we respect our elders. Any true Yoruba man you see that understands the values of the Yoruba people knows that you do not disrespect an elder. You do not. This is what we are known for as an example. But then now, if we start breaking it down from not just Yoruba, but we're breaking it down to, different tribes. Different tribes have.
But going away in the Premier League is very different.
Sorry?
That could be a tight game. I'm going for a draw.
There's someone who joined, and we're hearing your voice. Can you mute yourself, please? Beautiful. Thank you. So, sorry for the interruption, guys. So, as I was saying, we need as a people to define ourselves. What are our values? Simple. What is our identity as Barako people? I'm sure the leaders, because I know we have great leaders in this community, and I know that even our ancestors, they've answered these questions. They already have a list. I know it. Maybe it is in one of the books or the artifacts or some ancient and old, things that talk about the history of this community. I'm very sure somewhere, either it's in the books or it's in a flag, or there are certain values that the people of Barako community must uphold. We need to go back to it, and we need to let everybody, young, old, illiterate, literate, rich, poor, it does not matter who you are. If you want to claim our community, this is who we are. We are honest people. If you are not honest, you are not our son. Go away. We don't want you. If you are not hardworking, you are not our daughter, because this is our identity. I'm just giving examples, but this is important. So the first thing that would help our community develop when it comes to value system is answering the question, who are we? Community identity. Community identity. The next pillar So the first pillar is community identity. The second pillar, because I have 5 pillars, and I'll try to be as fast as possible so I don't take a lot of your time. The second pillar is what and how do we do what we do? Listen, this is very important. If you would hear me, listen, if you would hear me and you would work on what I'm saying, it will help us. It's a question of what is the community activity? The question of activity, community activity. What do we do as a people? And how do we do what we do? What do we do? And how do we do what we do? Hey, we are all products of our day-to-day activities. Who we are as a people is not because the gods made us like that. No. And it's not because we are praying day and night. No. The reason why we are where we are as a community today is because of the consistent actions that we have been making and taking as a people. Our activities is the determining factor of our current state. What that means is this, listen to me, please. If we are not happy about the state where we are right now, if we are not happy about the level of our progress as a community, we don't need to go to the gods to ask them. Let's leave the gods and let them rest for now. We'll consult them for other things. We don't need to go to a mountain to go and pray to Jesus. Let Jesus rest now. We don't need to do anything. Let's sit down and ask ourselves, what are we consistently doing? What are our people doing? And how are they doing what they're doing? So take, for example, what are the prevailing activities of the people in the community? Are they people who just walk around the community and are just gisting, laughing, playing ten? They're not productive. Nobody is doing anything productive, or just, well, and then you know how in Nigeria, I don't know if it's not, we just have like five people, either they are 5 men or 5 women, just sit down, just be gisting about everything, talking about everything for 5 hours. We're just talking. You see that man, eh? You see how your wife, you see something to your wife. Your wife come my place today. And so don't come my place today. And then that's what we're talking about. That's why we are where we are now. Because we are using 5 good hours or 4 good hours of our day, just wasting it away, wasting our time. So if we cannot take our time and convert our time into something reasonable, if we cannot get our people in the community actively involved in the process of production, then why are we surprised? No miracle will happen. No miracle can happen because our activities determine our today and our tomorrow. What do we want our people to be actively doing? Is it going to parties or getting to the farm and working and cultivating the farm? Do we want our youths to be productive, or do we want our youths to be on the streets drinking, smoking, and wasting their tomorrow? We must be intentional about, because this is a leader summit. And what I'm speaking today, I'm speaking to leaders. Leaders are not followers. Leaders are people who have vision. And because of their vision, they are able to direct the rest of the community to a future that they see. So I'm speaking today to leaders. I'm speaking to people who are interested in charting the course of this community to a better tomorrow. And that is the reason why I'm saying now that if we want the Barako community to progress and to develop, we must be concerned about what people are doing. What are the majority of our people doing? Are they productive or are they not productive? How are they using their time? How are they building relationships? What are they doing? And also, how do they do what they do? Okay, let's take for example, as a community, if we say why people, we are into fish farming. Take for example, we want to, because I know in River State, it's a riverine area and there's a whole lot of, aquatic, terrain in that area. And let's say in Barako community, we want to be known, and what we want to do is that we want to go into fish farming. Then it's not enough, listen please, it's not enough to just say, okay, we want people to be into fish farming. No. How do you want them to be in fish farming? How do you want them to go through the process of fish farming? Do you want them to do it excellently or just to do it anyhow? Remember the story of the Japanese I talked about. The Japanese, they were just interested in doing and producing, gadgets, devices. They didn't really pay attention to how. They were not interested in doing an excellent job. But the moment they changed from just doing anything, but doing it right, it changed their nation. I dare say that if Barako community would be more intentional about the kind of activities, of course, you cannot control people to do one thing or do that. But I'm saying the general, or if we were to take a summary of what most people are doing with their time, we know it is more productive than not productive. And if we're involved in any form of production, we set up a system of checks and balances. We set up a system of training, of good, excellent training to help people develop the good skills, excellent skills to produce excellent results. In life, nothing just happens. It is what you put in that you will get out. If we want an excellent community by changing our values, then we must pay attention to what we do as a community and how we do what we do. Very important. So that brings me to the end of the second pillar. I hope you're with me. The first pillar is community identity. We must answer the question of who we are as a people. What identifies us as members of this community? You must have a list of these values. We are people of truth. We are people of love. We are hardworking people. There must be a list, and every member of the community, from the top to the bottom, must know these values, that this is who we are as a people. Number two, community activity. What do we do and how do we do it? The third pillar that involves the change of our value system and also how we progress as a community is the question of productivity. And this is connected to the 2 points I've said, and it is, what is our community productivity? See, there are two kinds of communities. Two kinds. There are the producers or producing community and the consuming community. There are communities that are producing, and they are constantly giving out, producing things. And there are other communities, their own is just, let's just be what? Because just be bringing it. I'm sure you already know the kind of community that will be a grace community between both communities. Is it let me not assume. Let me throw the question out. If community A is a producing community and community B is just a consuming community, please help me. I want to be sure that you know which of these communities would be more developed than the other. Is it community A that is producing or community B that is only receiving and consuming?
A.
Community A.
Community A, yes.
And that is not rocket science. That is simple logic. So my question to my dear leaders of the Barako community today, I'm not speaking big English or something that only professors can handle. I'm saying basic things. What are we producing? What are we producing? Because until we know what we are producing and we are excellent at producing it, we can just say bye-bye to development. We can just say, development, oh, we like you, but no, not for us. Because if we're not a producing community, how do we expect to grow? How do we expect to receive, income? How do we expect to develop? How do we expect to attract investors? I mean, I know Mr. Tuka is in the US, and I know there are many people like him who are also from the Barako community in different parts of the world. They have money in their bank account, and they're looking for what to do with the money. But they are scared. Let me tell you the truth. They are scared to give the money back home because nobody would want to earn money in the abroad, as we say it, and just want to throw it back home and not get any reasonable returns from it, or not be able to be sure that this is what my money will do. So I'm very sure today that there are perhaps hundreds of thousands of the Barako community in diaspora, and they have money. They have thousands and hundreds of thousands of dollars that they are willing to invest in their community. But they cannot invest in a community that they cannot see what the community is producing. They can't. Because they are smart, they are intelligent. You can beg them and say, okay, Uncle, please send 5,000. They will send 5,000, no problem. But what do 5,000 want to do for you? Buy granite and fish, or buy bole. But they have thousands of dollars they want to invest. So let me not beat so much on this point. Hey, the question of community productivity, what are we producing and how well are we producing this? We must answer this. We must. Now, we go to the next pillar. So I hope you're following me. I said I have 5 pillars. When I'm done with my 5 pillars, I would close my conversation, and if anyone has any question, I'll be willing to answer. So we've gone through community identity. That is answering the question of who are we as a people. Number 2, community activity. What do we do? And how do we do what we do? That is community activity. The third one is community productivity. And it is simple. What are we producing? And how well are we producing this thing? The fourth one is very important, and it is community reputation. Community reputation. Community reputation. What does that mean? What do other people think and know about us? What do other people know and think about us? I think I can see that someone just stepped in because I see people are standing. So I also want to recognize, I don't know who that is, but I just want to also recognize that person. Welcome, sir. Welcome, sir.
I think it should be the executive chairman.
All right. You're very welcome, sir. Great to have you around. Beautiful. All right. So I would continue. Community reputation. See.
Yeah.
All right. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Second, the executive chairman of the local government, the son of Barako, have not spoken in, including the council representing the good people of Barako, Barako, the local administrative assembly. We are welcome.
Awesome.
Ojono, go ahead.
Thank you very much, sir. You're welcome, Honorable. Thank you for joining today's leadership meeting. It's a pleasure to be speaking here, as I said earlier. So I'll continue my line of thoughts because I'm speaking on the subject of value systems and certain pillars that our value systems would build for us as a community to help us become developed. Quickly, I will run through the three I've talked about that will lead me to the fourth pillar. The first pillar I talked about is community identity. And that answers the question of, I say I am a member of the great Barako community. Who am I as a member of this community? Who are we? What identifies us? And I'm not just saying what identifies us by our dressing or by our songs or by our language. No, I'm talking about what character traits, what is the content of our character? What is our identity as a people? What values do we uphold? That's the first. Second is the question of what do we do as a people in this community and how do we do it? And that is the pillar that I call community activity. What do we do and how do we do what we do? Very important. The third one is community productivity. Hey, what are we producing as a people? What are we producing as a people? And how excellent are our products? We must answer that question. We must. If we want development, we must answer the question. The fourth one is, which I am on, is on community reputation. And it is, we don't live in isolation. We are interrelational beings. We're not just people in the Barako community and we only live there. We interact with people in different communities. It's important that people have a good image of us. And guess what? The onus is not on them. The onus is on us. I'll go back to the Japanese story. Why did people who bought Japanese products why did they stop buying the products? They stopped buying the products because the products they were receiving from Japan back then were low quality products. So that became a reputation for Japanese products. So, and just like the way today, when we see made in China, we already know. Because most people already know, oh, Chinese products, especially in Nigeria, oh, Chinese products. because most people know Chinese product to be low quality. Of course, Chinese products, they also have very high quality. But for the most part, there's this made in China means low quality, right? But let's bring it back home now. When people hear Barako community, what comes to their mind? What comes to their mind? Do they think of, that's a peaceful community? Oh, that's a hardworking community. Oh, people from Barako community are so kind. Oh, people from Barako community are so hardworking. Our reputation is what speaks for us when we are not there. And as a community and as leaders, we must be concerned about this. What is our image outside? See, listen, this is a principle that every company, it's called brand image. Any company that wants to progress, they are concerned about their reputation. They want to make sure that they have a good reputation amongst people. Why? Because that is what will attract people to them. My question to all of our leaders listening to me today is, hey, what is attracting people to Barako community? What qualities, what features do we have? What is our reputation that will make people to say, oh, I have this money I want to invest, and I'm looking for a community to invest this money. There's no other community in Rivers State that comes to my mind but Barako community. It is because I have heard so much about this community that their leaders and the people in this community are honest people. So if I invest there, I would get my investments done well. What is our reputation? We cannot just say, I don't care. We don't care. Whatever they think, let them think. No. If we want to have development in our community, then we must be concerned about what do others see us as? What do they think about us? We must answer that question. That is the fourth pillar. And then the final pillar I'll be sharing today, and I will call it an evening, is what are the plans that we have for the future of this community? And it is the question of community sustainability. See, a community without a plan for the future is already dead today. That's it. Any community that does not have a plan that would protect the future is already dead today. So as leaders, and I know we have great leaders in this community, because for you to think about having this kind of summit, it tells me that you are leaders who have this community in heart, and you are great people who want to take this community forward. So it is important that we have a detailed plan, sustainable plan for the community in different areas. What is the sustainable plan that you have to alleviate people from poverty? It must be sat down. There must be a consortium. There must be a group of people who will sit down and say, okay, how many people do we have in our community? How many people are experiencing poverty? What is our plan to alleviate poverty in our community for the next 5 years, 10 years, 20 years? There must be foresight. There must be a plan. This is what will make the Barako community to live prosperous for the next 100 years. Because the leaders today have gone forward, they've gone ahead, and they've thought about, hey, what will happen to our children's 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 children? We are, because we are people of foresight. So this must be done in every area. How do we want to get our people to be educated? What is the percentage of people who are illiterate in our community? How do we make sure that we reduce the illiteracy rate for the next 5-10 years? We must be people of vision and plan. I will end with these final words. Anything that will happen in this amazing community called Barako community will happen because everyone seated here and everyone listening to me will sit down and do the hard work of answering these 5 questions I've asked. Number 1, who are we? And how do we make sure that every member of this community is aware of our values as a people? What defines us as a people? We must answer the question. Number 2, what do we do? And how do we do it? Do we just do things anyhow or we do things excellently? Let's say you are a sweeper. If you are a sweeper in Barako community, we sweep very well. If you are a policeman, we don't collect bribes. If you are a builder, we don't say we want 10 cement and carry 5 cements back and keep and build the house with 5 cement. Because what will happen? 5 years later, 10 years later, the house will collapse. We are honest people and we do our work well. So we must answer the question of community activity. What do we do? How do we do it? We do excellent jobs. Then the 3rd pillar is community productivity. We must be able to beat our chests and say, hey, this is Barako community. We produce 1, we produce 2, we produce 3, we produce 4. We can export from this community and feed or export to other parts of Nigeria, other parts of Africa, other parts of the world, because we are known for producing this product, that product, that product. We must answer this question. That's the 3rd pillar, community productivity. And then the 4th pillar, which is very important, is the pillar called community reputation. What message, what image do people out of our community have about us? Do they see us as kind people, respectful people, honest people, hardworking people, reliable people? These qualities is what would attract people to us, attract investors to us, attract good people to us. We must answer the question of what is our reputation? Any leader that cares about this community must know that my actions or my inactions would affect the reputation of this community. So I must be a good man. I must be a good woman. If they elect me as a leader, I must lead well. If I'm in charge of the money, I must not steal the money. If I'm a policeman, I must be a good policeman, because I must protect the reputation of my community. This must be our mindset. If we don't want development, just say what this young man is saying is rubbish. Just forget about what I'm saying. But if what we want is development, then we must take these topics very important. And the final one, which is not the least, but a very important one, is community sustainability. My dear leaders, a future that you don't plan for is already in jeopardy. So please, in every facet, every area, education, business, lifestyle, healthy living, we must sit down, strategize, plan. What do we see? How do we see this community in the next 10 years, 15 years? And we must draw out a map, a plan on how to salvage the future of our children, our children's children, our children's children, and posterity would be proud and would speak well about us. That we were leaders who were not just concerned about our own stomach, about our own selves, but we are leaders who were concerned about the destiny and the future of this amazing community. Thank you very much for listening to me. I am Dr. Anujo, and it's such a pleasure to be here. Thank you. And I wish Barako community the very best. And I look forward to actually visiting this community when I come to Nigeria to be with you live and to also share in the brotherhood. God bless you.
You're welcome.
Okay. That's wonderful, Dr. Ojo. Thank you so much. Before Professor M.P. Sigano to take us in the leadership integrity and financial stewardship, the executive chairman of the local government area, our very own. This functionally was supposed to be today, but it's going to do it now to formally plan on this summit. So I'm handing the microphone to the executive chairman of the local government area.
My very eminent and distinguished parliament ruler, Cardinal Bernard Apad, and the council representing Ward 11, the grace of God is from that. The members of the Council of Chiefs of Barako, members of cities, members of zonal chiefs, the youths, the women, the young, and the old of the very beautiful community called Barako. I salute in my life, years of it, this is the first of its kind in this community. As come to Barako today, is that Barako is no longer Barako of our yesterday. Barako will henceforth be a Barako of the 21st century and beyond. When I look around us and the faces I see, the commitment show that we have shown to us is first of its kind, and we have been so committed to it. We only tell that Barako is moving forward, and there shall be no stopping us. Barako is moving forward, and backward never be. the last speaker. Let me thank you very seriously. You took us through together and habits who can only get better for it. Let me thank my very own is consciousness to bring Barako to enlightenment and where he wants Barako to be. Moments to Barako. You are wonderful. I salute you. By this simple act of yours, you have been on a good way that Barako in our own community and connect with the entire world. I say thank you. And the Lord bless you. You are a light in the education coming from this community as the first professor. And in your time, you are seeing what is happening here. The community is now on your shoulders. I will ask you, for if you are not taking it seriously, take it seriously that the growth of this community lies on shoulders of people like you. And I thank you for also being part of what is happening today. Same to Moses, same to the youngest girl. Is one of the shining lights of this community. And for all of us, by the grace of God, God is using to talk to the people of Barako today. I salute you, Dr. Gilman, Dr. Gilman. I salute you, Dr. Victor, Dr. Shani. I salute you, of course, for you. How simple this? Let me also use the opportunity to call on my community, all my leadership of our parliament who has brought analysis into leadership, who has with inspiration on the throne, has shown a promising kind of approach that should really join me and give him the desired support. This kind will only be the beginning of where we are to pick off from. In all of that, let me hear from us and many of us that please, not one person can do it alone. It has to be all of us. If we choose to say we want to grow this community will grow in leaps and bounds. But if we want to sit back to think that any one person will go alone, no, the community for let us therefore join our hands together. And if we are in this together, if we are united in our attempt to want to grow this community will grow. And because the leader, our power ruler, has dedicated this community to God, we will help this community grow in the mighty name of Jesus. And therefore, by the grace of God today, God has blessed us to lead the people of this government as a chairman, and we have been given the privilege and honor to this profession forward. I will do it in a few seconds, but let me, before I do that, encourage us to if this mission was for some other thing not too enlightening, not too forward-looking, this is my so my thinking will be that Let this not be only introduction, but a result-oriented approach to how we work in 5 years, in 10 years, and in 20 years, as we do, as I therefore, by the powers that God has given us to champion of this program, who also by the grace of God is a very person of this community. This summit open. Thank you.
So, the executive chairman of the Canada government, Honorable Confidence for funding of the summit. This is the first ever summit in Barako and in any community of Ghana. And so we give all praise to God. Now we are going to listen to one of our elders, second PhD holder in Barako, and of course, by the grace of God, the very first professor of Barako, and that is no other than Professor F.P. Sigaro. He's going to take us in leadership, integrity, and financial stewardship. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I send my greetings to the Paramount Chief, Chief Barako Kabari, and also greet the Chairman of Gokana Local Government, who is also our own, that is here. I greet the Council of Chiefs of Barako and the Council of Elders. I also greet all my colleagues on this platform who have come to participate in this very strategic summit, leadership summit. I think this is one of the best things that have happened to this community in the past 30 years. We have not been able to come together like this to address ourselves and look for the way forward. But by the special grace of God, Tuka, when he started this, he wrote to me and he said he has something he would want to tell the chief, and if the chief would like it, that he would want to do it. Then he explained. I told him, you go ahead, as long as it is something that will develop and improve our community, the chief will accept it, and we're going to do it. So Tuka took upon himself to go ahead to do that, and today we are here analyzing. I have participated in this summit since yesterday, from the very beginning. I have listened carefully to all the talks. And I want to say that if after now we still have problem, then there is something else that we may not understand. They talk from our history, through capacity building, through strategic development, participation, and now the values, which are very vital. All the people have put the nail on the head, and they have told us clearly what we need as leaders of this community to develop positively and improve in everything. I'm not going to say anything that has not been said. What you see, they have been asked to talk on leadership integrity, financial stewardship. These are very important things. And I will want to say that the problem of a people could be leadership. Problem of a community could be leadership, because the direction of the leader, direction of the community is whatever the leader is doing. The image of the leader is the image of the community. The standard of the leader is the standard of the community. We are so blessed now that we have a leader that is not only young, but also already has set a standard outside there that people have seen that he can handle issues. And I believe we are doing just that now. And maybe after now, our community will go to the next level by the grace of God. And that next level will be very impressive. So I want to tell us that I have my talk, which is going to be very short. I'm not going to, I'm not a professional in this area. If I were to talk about physics, maybe I'll keep us here for the next 2 hours, 3 hours. But I'm not a professional. But of course, talking is what the teachers use to eat. So I'm just going to talk about introduction. I define a leader for us in the way I understand. I also tell us about platforms for leadership, personal outlines of personal qualities of a leader, and the avoidables in leadership. Then the power of leadership. And I will tell us about the virtues of leadership. And then with this, we'll be able to know where we are as leaders. Because when I talk about leaders, we have our key leader, who is the paramount chief of the village. We have the council of chiefs, those who are planning the village with him. They are all leaders. We also have the council of elders. Those who may not be in the chief's house, but they are outside there as people who have contributed to the community and are recognized by age and by their achievement and should be part of the leadership of the village. So we are talking about leadership integrity because leadership is generated from character traits. Leadership is generated from character traits. Generally, we do not just want to lead people. Before we say we are leaders, what is our focus? What do we intend to do with the people? There must be something of common interest that takes all of us on, that we are looking at, that this is where we will be. I think part of the problem of the past is that there were divergent opinions even on the same thing. We are not agreed that this is where we want to get to. And when we behave like that, or when a leader is not able to focus the people, there may be a problem. So it's the common interest that gives focus to the leadership. A leader is, if I may define, is a person who has commanding influence, commanding power, based on his character, based on his discipline, based on his attitude to life and to things around. With that commanding influence, he becomes a good leader that takes the people with his personal qualities to a focus and has influence on them. So influence is a very particular trait of a leader. If he cannot influence the people, he cannot lead them, he cannot direct them, he cannot control them, he cannot focus them, then he has not done well as a leader. So we're going to look at that. And this is from there we enter into what I call personal qualities of a leader. And just like the next slide, just like I have said before, a leader must be decisive. Decisiveness is there. A leader must have faith, believing that he is going to get what he is looking up to. That is vision. A leader must be somebody who is humble. self-appraisal. He looks at himself and can assess exactly who he is. A leader must be patient, must be able to wait for the time that the thing will happen, not rush over it. And self-discipline. A leader must be sincere. And like we are talking in the topic, integrity, that which separates you from others and make you stand on the truth always. Integrity is standing on the truth, standing on the real, doing what is open and clear, not in the dark. A leader must have spiritual wisdom. I mean, you need to consult God. You know, in the Bible, there's Solomon, who needed that spiritual wisdom. And he asked, and God asked him to ask for anything, and he asked for that spiritual wisdom to be able to discern, to know when to act and believe and behave, not just to do anything. A leader must be zealous, have zeal or commitment. Without commitment, you'll be compromising. Without zeal, you will not have the drive to do what you want to do for the people, to get them to the top, to where they will be. Without commitment, commitment drives you to go home and see how the people are doing and not stay away and think that the people are aware. Because you are committed, you want to know who they are. You have the zeal, the persuasion is there. You are not just there for anything. Then we go to the next one. I've told you I'm not going to waste my much time. The next one is the power of leadership. Leadership has power. You imagine we have leaders, we have governors, the governor here, we have the president in Abuja, we have the Secretary General of the United Nations, we have British Prime Minister, we have American President. They have power. And I can see the American president just said, let us remove our troops from Afghanistan, and it has happened. The leader can command power to do things, but under this power that the leader has, he must stay close to the people he's leading. That is what cements the power. If he's not close to the people, he will be deceived when they give information to him, because those people who surround the leader are the most important people to the leader, because what they tell him is what he is going to do. The people that clean his table, the people that set his table, the people that come to him, the people that write what he's saying, they are the people that will influence what he's going to act on. And therefore, a leader must not be seen as an intimidating human being. Somebody that everybody walking around him is angry, is sad, is unhappy, is not transmitting. That is not integrable leader. A leader that relates well with the people, have vision for the people, is combining motivation together with good relationship. Good relationship. Not a leader that is selfish and thinking that everything must belong to him. Integrity means that you have thrown away selfishness and you now reason with the people, go with them. And what am I saying? What I'm saying is that the vision alone, without organizational capacity, yesterday we talked about capacity a lot, without organizational capacity would be a mere dream. And we will not want a mere dream. We want a dream with a substance, a dream that we see the fruit of it. This means that a leader must demonstrate a practical approach for the steps he takes to realize the vision or the dream. There must be a practical approach. We are going to set this thing, we are going to do it this way. We find the way to do it that is practical. It's not just saying it and we cannot practicalize it. I have to commend us for some of the steps we have taken so far. Practical steps to bring peace. It may look odd in many eyes, but I think it's a practical step to bring peace. That we meet, we talk, we cross certain boundary, and we make the things right. And it will be right. A leader is a servant of the people. It's a servant of the people he's serving. He is leading. The integrity of the leader makes him to put away self-gain. He is not one now that is looking for just what we enter. If his part is not in that thing, he should not come. If he is not part of the development that should come to the village, he shouldn't come. If he cannot get 1 naira inside that thing they are saying, it should not happen. That is not a good leader. A good leader looks for what will benefit the people, what will serve the people. By the time the people will be served, the leader will be served. I believe in that very seriously. So integrity makes you to put away self-gain. It makes you to give your power away. That power that you would have welded, now we are talking about many things in our nation, and there are a lot of powers rolling around that is making it that some people are carrying everything to their own side, whether it is at national level, at state level, or at local government level. You carry everything to your side because it is your own now. It is not distribute things. Make sure everybody gets what is good. That is integrity, because that shows that you are careful in your character and you are doing things. A leader, platforms for leadership. Next one. The platform for leadership. I always say that there are two things that a leader stands on to work. The leader needs materials. Number one, available materials. He will need to use the material. What are those things that are valuable for him to use? Resources that are already there and that can be used to improve the community or improve the nation or improve the family or improve. What are those things that are already there? Materials. A leader, number two, will need people. Availability of people. It's one thing to have the people. It's another thing to have the people that are available. It's just like you see our community. There are a lot of people in the community. If we count, we may count not less than suddenly 150 graduates from Barako. But how many of our graduates are available? A leader needs available people, people that he can use to run the affairs of the community or of the nation or of the state. So the leader must now manage the things available, the material, prudently, carefully, with details, not loosely, not because he has all the materials are there, they may have brought it, no, he consumes them all alone without using for the community. He must lead, that is influencing the people positively to get the target. The leader must not manage the people like he will manage machines. People are dynamic. The people's character, material, in fact, the most varied of all variables, in whether in mathematics or in physics or in any other science we are doing, the most varied of all variables is the human life, is the human character, is the human. When you have people you are managing, they can so disturb, they can so worry your system when you try to get the mean of what it is. You see the trouble that it will give to you. But because they are dynamic, you must show them good relationship and love. That will win them. When you have good relationship with the people, you have love for them, you care for them, they know that you are for them, they will give themselves out to be available for you. Then I come to the very important thing that is we must look at. In integrity is based on this also. Avoidables in leadership. Next slide. available in leadership. Basically, a leader stands well if he can avoid falling into the temptation of one sex, woman, man. 2, money. And 3, pride. These are the 3 things that must be avoided by a leader. If a leader cannot avoid this, then he will fall into temptation. Recently in America, there's a governor that was said to be involved in one of these woman affair, so to say, but and he left the position of governor. In the Bible, we have somebody like David, a character that we all want to use and live like he lived, but there was one affair. He took somebody's wife and killed the person. Bad leader. Solomon was so wise. After getting the spiritual wisdom from God and was doing things very well, built the kingdom very fine, he married so many wives and plunged himself into difficulties and brought in idols. Because you see, when you soil yourself, you look for idols to hide your sin, and it's not necessary. So money, very, very important. Anybody who plays with money can destroy himself, because you need to be careful when we are talking of financial management. You use the people's money for the people. You use the people's money for what the money was built for. You don't divert the people's money if you're a leader. You don't use it to do other things and forget about what the money was meant for. There must be accountability in handling public finance. And when it comes to pride, don't see yourself as, because you are now the leader of the people, you are in the town council, you are in the elders council, you are leading the people, they put you there to do some things, you now see, I have arrived. There's nothing like that. Humility gives you everything, but pride destroys everything. You must see pride as an enemy of progress, an enemy of success, an enemy of reality of what you intend for the people. So you don't allow pride. You cover up pride with humility. Take humility and drop pride. Now I come and I say, finally, you see the virtues of leadership. I have said it from the beginning. Vision, which hinges on purpose. Why am I a leader? I had a vision. Why am I here now? What is happening now? You follow it. Passion. You have feeling for the people. I've said that many times. You must have feeling for the people. Conviction. You must see the people, that you have truth inside you for these people. You are convinced that what you are going to do is right. You are principled. You are not just anyhow. People cannot just come around you anyhow and toss you anyhow. You are principled. You have values. Somebody just talked to us about values. Values ranging from identity up to your productivity. You have value. Because of your value, people cannot infringe on you because they know that you will not like this. Some group of students just came to me and they didn't know I was nearby listening, and they were buying something that they would show to me, and one of them said, Professor Sigalo will not like this. And in fact, when they brought to me, I didn't like it. When they didn't know I was somewhere and I had it. So when they brought that thing, it's not because I had it, I didn't like it, but because definitely that was not what I wanted them to buy. So if you live with equality with the people and they know your value, they will also know what you will love and what you will not love, and how you can go along with that. So you see, you must insist on what is truth and what is good. You must have compassion. I've said it, passion and compassion. Compassion spreads out to the people. Passion comes out of you for what to do. Compassion makes you to look after the poor people. Passion is the drive you have to do it. So you have passion and you have compassion. And like we are saying in this very lecture, accountability is important. You must be accountable. Everything you are doing. That is why now we don't dwell on morals. Now we dwell on everything we are doing. Because we can be accountable. This lecture that we are giving, we can be accountable to it. We know why we are doing it. We can know what we are doing here. We can understand how we are doing it. We must be accountable. And we will make sacrifice. A leader must. If you don't lose anything for leading, then you are not leading indeed. You must have something you are put into leadership, which you wouldn't have done if you were not in that position. That's your sacrifice. And you are doing that to make sure that the community moves forward. You are doing that to make sure that a clear plan of what you intend to do, and then a dedication to what you want to do. I've told us before that without dedication, you will be when we are trying to settle whatever has been a problem with our community since I was born, there was a problem, and that problem has persisted. I wish that problem would not be after our leadership now. That problem would have been something we put behind, and we look forward to good progress. Barako was known for good education, quality young production. Barako was known for bright people, honest and sincere people. If you are from Barako, before now, you were not seen as a thief, as somebody. Otherwise, our people would not have walked all over this country. There were Barako people working at Onitsha. Barako people working
please,
at
if I mute you, don't unmute yourself. You are distracting the program, please.
Before, when I was small, I saw them. And they came back home with dignity. None of them came back home with rope on their neck. And so I know we can still do better, and we'll do better by the grace of God. If you allow me, in Jesus' name.
Amen.
So a leader must be transparent in all matters of financial transactions with the people. Public finance is never for personal consumption. Don't take public finance as your own. It's never done anywhere. If you're a leader, you are giving some money. You may not be the lead chief. You may be another chief in the council of chiefs, and you are giving some money, go and do this. Then you remove some and do the effective and bring it, and think that will make the community, bring the community into progress. No, it's not like that. You must be careful. You must be careful with finance, because that is a mark of good leadership, that you are able to use the finance given to you for the purpose for which it was earmarked. Right now, I understand we are going to get water in the village, and we need quality water. I will wish that all that they are doing there, we watch it, we carefully instruct them to do it the way they will do, rather than any section that is given to anybody. He takes the money and say, okay, you don't need to extend it to this way, just make sure it stops here, and then let me have this. It's not good like that. Let the whole thing be done nicely, and then we'll get the fruit of it to better. We have a lot to develop. We have a lot to go on to do. Yesterday, we were told if we must build capacity in our community, we must also invest in our education. If we must build capacity, we must also invest in our education, our primary school, our secondary school. It's the material, it's the quality of what we have that will produce the quality of the people that we are looking forward to have also. So we must be good people who stand on integrity. We must be good people who stand on good vision to project the community. We must be the kings in the kingdom. We must not see our king. We were told yesterday, we must be people that are for a dream written down that can become a goal. not a dream that it just scattered. People have told us, I say from the history, which was given by one of our sons, to all down to capacity building, to integrable living, to make sure how do we use what we have to produce what we grow the community to what we have had this afternoon by Dr. Ojo. I think we have finished this lecture. Whatever we are going to say again, you will see that it will fall into all these things. Even what I'm saying now is falling into what people said yesterday and what people said this morning. Thank you very much for listening to me. God bless you all.
With what you have done. Quickly, before we take the next section, making appropriate again through strategic actions by Barrister Clifford Sigaro, used to say like father like son. Our paramount ruler, Venerable Barako, short speech.
Susan, your son is going to talk.
The Honorable Council representing the people of Barako and Old Nampo. Chairman, Grand Council of Chief, Chairman, Council of Chief, Chairman and members of the Vice the zonal chiefs, manager, acting manager, Dr. all others. This is actually a leadership conference. Actually, a leadership conference of those certain responsibilities in this community. And the commitment shown so far has been awesome. We won't be to your elbows, and most importantly, our executive chairman, who has since assumption of duty as the mayor of the Santos territory. And show that has shown all the way commitment demonstration. We also let you know that in everything we have done, just yesterday,
we are there. We are listening.
you will see
I'm not hearing them.
where we are and where we should be to participants, resource persons, and
Add him to earphone.
the summary is
Come on, Kim to the earphone. I can use earphone on this. Sorry, I'm not hearing well.
Yes, I'm not here. To as so this one from the village, the audio is bad.
Audio is bad. The audio quality is bad.
So please, that's the patient. That's Manic, please.
Okay. Yes, sir. Check this. No?
And we need to build capacity. Today we have been told to have an identity. I have said we should change it from small India to small Jerusalem.
Yeah.
It is my belief that moving forward, by the time this series is over, the youth will, because we will have to hear from Dr. Mangute, and then we all will know what we should do to make Barako great again. We are here and we want to thank all of you. May God bless you. And may the everyone.
Okay. I took out ready to take the next lecture, and that is making a movement again through strategic action.
All right.
People are you here?
Yes, I am here.
Okay.
I am
over to you.
Okay. My father spoke English, so I should be allowed to speak English too. My fears were that we're going to come in our traditional language, but I think I'll follow precedent. First of all, I was not here yesterday unavoidably, and I sincerely apologize. As far as I'm concerned, this is a very serious meeting, a program of the Barako community that I think assures every one of us that our community would become what we all expect it to be. For some of us, and I'm not speaking just for myself, I'm aware that many of our children don't even know where our village is. And that is because we lost our greatness. But we have the opportunity of being great again. Before we commence, if this was not done yesterday and this subject to directions from the organizers of the program, I would love us to observe a moment of silence for all of our fallen heroes. We have many persons from the community who were great in all of their deeds and time, and we've lost them. But I believe that we're on a new threshold now. But it may be important that we recognize these persons by observing a moment of silence for each and every one of them. I would spare off the details of mentioning names, but I think we can just do this. If this is okay, I would crave that we do just that, a moment of silence. May the soul of our departed rest in eternal peace.
Amen.
Amen. I would start by standing on all existing protocols, but would especially recognize the presence of our natural and paramount ruler, His Highness Mene Kadilo Kabari. Is an honor for every one of us to have you in leadership of the community at this time. I don't know if the chairman of Gokana local government is present. I especially recognize you, sir. It's also an honor to have you at this time in the leadership of our local government. And the feedbacks we're getting is one that we seriously we are glad about. We're really, really glad about. I just take a short story. I got into a filling station, and the person who attended to me was a young man from, I think, Gokana, yes, one of the villages in Gokana. And he identified me as coming from Barako. And I saw the excitement on his face when he was saying that our chairman is doing exceptionally well at the local government. And I cannot say how much pride that gave to me as a person, knowing that we have a son who is distinguishing himself in the role that has been accorded him. I don't think it will be out of place if we put a hand of applause for our performing chairman. Please, can we just do that? Our chairman is doing well, and we need to recognize him.
Good job.
Woo! Great.
Thank you very much. I would straight away go to the subject of my discourse. I believe that's all I have to say. Things people have said in different ways. And what I just need to do is I'm restating those facts, and it is said that repetition is for emphasis, which indicates that these are still things that we need to give serious thought in order to bring us to our. I commend all the organizers of this program, Pastor Baituka, for putting this program together. He's been one man too many. So I go to the topic, making Barako great again through strategic actions. I think this topic was chosen deliberately because we're not talking about true strategic thinking. We're talking about actions. An action, any thought that does not give back to an action.
But we can hear you.
We're not hearing you again.
I hear it.
The network is bad.
Network.
Yes.
If it's eventually not executed.
Sorry, can you go over? We lost you for a minute.
Oh, great.
Oh,
You are gone again.
we lost him for.
We can't hear.
Yeah, we are hearing you.
Yeah, we can hear.
We just said we lost you for a minute, but we are hearing you now.
Okay, that's fine. Maybe this position is better. So I come back to meeting. So am I being heard now?
Yes. We're hearing you, but we can't see you.
We can see you.
Don't worry, you'll get to see me.
Yeah, you are clear. Yeah, clear.
Okay.
Well, you
Um,
keep speaking, but we
let me
want to
unmute
hear
my,
you.
let me unmute my video.
Yeah, you are good.
So you're hearing me now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
Uh, so I thought, let's talk about greatness first. Greatness is a quality of eminence, ability. Sorry, I come from an academic background, even though I'm not an academic, so it's affecting my way of thinking. Considering above average, an important or distinguished person. The dictionary says great means very good. Greatness can only be sustained by vision. So we know that Barako could have been said to be great in the past because we had eminent sons and we had eminent persons from Barako community to compete favorably with almost any other community in Bukana and even Ogoni. But perhaps we were not able to sustain that because we didn't have a visionary path. Now, vision can only be sustained and made tangible by a plan. So you have a vision, but you need a plan to be able to sustain vision. Otherwise, it's only a dream. So every morning you wake up, you just think about the fact that you want to get somewhere and how beautiful that place is, but you don't put anything on paper. It remains a dream. Now, vision means the ability to see or plan something for the future. So it means that you must sit down and put something on paper that guarantees how the future is going to look like.
Mm.
Why dream is a state of being occupied by one's own thoughts. So every morning you just wake up, I want to be great, I want to be great, but there's nothing that is on paper. Now, a visionary plan is one that brings remarkable changes to the way of doing things or to the way of life of a people, community, or nation. So you have a visionary plan. That visionary plan is such that must create a transformation. If not, we're not talking about vision. Now, to give effect to any plan, there must be actions. And that is where we are. That is why we are here today, why we're having this meeting. And one of the visionary things we've done as a people from the Barako community is to have this subject. It's an action. A lot of people, in cause of the post, social media posts and all of that that were put together for the organization of this program, called me, met me, and said, look, what's happening? We love what your community is doing. We don't know how this, maybe we need to pick this idea and run with it in our community. So it's an action that is predicated on a vision. And when Chukam called me up and said, look, this is what he wants to do, frankly, I decided to discourage my participation for many reasons. But I saw that he was undeterred. He was so passionate about it that it caught me. Again, in my attempt to discourage him, I attempted to narrate some of the challenges that has to do with him trying to put this together. And I saw that he understood those challenges already. And he was not going to be deterred by those challenges because he has seen those challenges and he saw beyond those challenges. That's vision. That's vision. And that vision is not still because he had an outline of how he was going to get that done. And I said, look, how are you going to be able to achieve this? Because you need people to participate in this program. They need to be involved with you in the planning. We have figured out how all of this was going to be done. So that's leadership that is visionary, backed up by action. And I think that resonates with what we want to talk about. Now, when you have actions like this, like we just talked about now, such actions give back to the execution. Sorry, such actions that will give back to the execution of a vision must be strategic. And that's what brings us to our topic, making Barako great again through strategic actions. You must be strategic. It's not enough that you want to get something done. How do you want to get that thing done? We live in a climate where everybody is only interested in what he can get out of the system. And we just talked about transparency, financial transparency, and all of that in leadership. Everybody wants just what he can grab. So we want to make Barako great again, and we have some action plans that will make Barako great again. How do you evolve this that you defeat persons whose interests are only for the grab? These are important. Now, some of the things that come readily to mind in making Barako great again, I will discuss them. The first force of development, the first force of development, and I emphasize this again, the first force of development is education. When the people are educated, they are informed. It's the most powerful tool even in this modern world. The reason why many of us can key into this program today, in spite of the fact that we're not present, seated at CAC in Barako, where this program is taking place, is because we have modern technology that have made this possible. This modern technology can only be accessed, harnessed, and used when you have education. Education is formal or informal, but you have to be educated. Now, what education does is that it takes away, one, ignorance. I recall growing up in the village, and I did grow up in the village. I'm a typical Barako boy. We usually hear of the story of people killing their twins. And the only reason why people did that was because they were ignorant. And I'm told of one woman in our village who refused to kill his own twins, because that was the culture at that time. It was acceptable among the people because they were not educated, they were not informed. So ignorance is taken away when you're educated. Poverty is another thing that is taken away when you're educated. One of the biggest problems of any society is poverty. Poverty is not just lack of money. Poverty is more dangerous when it is of the mind. I can say that almost all of us in the Barako community during the time that I grew up were not exceptionally wealthy, but some persons believed they could break the yoke of poverty through their mind in spite of lack to seek the best for their life. And people have been able to do that. So education takes away poverty. And the best way people did that was to seek education. It puts you apart with the people who ordinarily had the best of life. Our former president, Jonathan, said he did not have a shoe growing up, going to school, but he became our president. I am not aware Nigeria that came of the prominent Nigerians that we have had before independence and after independence. The only thing that have made these people become leaders in our society today is because they expose themselves to one form of education or the other. The education takes away poverty. It takes away sickness and disease. So we must, as a people, deliberately decide to invest in the education of our people. How can we do this? Because the first argument would be, let's leave it to the government to do it. If government cannot do it, then who are we to? But I can tell you that the most successful communities are communities that decided to take their education for themselves. The most important education is primary education, second to secondary education. We as a community must invest in primary education for our people. Is it possible? Yes, it is possible. For persons whom the good Lord had blessed and they've had some level of resources, they should see that investing in the scholarship of the younger ones coming up is something that is important. But individual efforts may not go far in terms of helping the common good of the community in this drive. The best is we as a people can sit together and say, look, we want to set up a scholarship board for our people. It's not about the millions. It's not about the billions. If the children who are from Barako can be assured that they can have notebooks to go to school, they can have pencil to go to school, is a starting point. And I don't think this can be too much for those of us who have found some light in the community to get done. We can set up a trust fund which is intended to take care of the most less privileged among us. Those whom you know, you can identify them that look, these ones need serious help. We can have a trust fund for that purpose. Now, there's a difference for me between having a trust fund and a scholarship board. The scholarship board can source funds from institutions. We have institutions all around the world who are interested in providing some form of scholarship for people in different parts of the world. If we put together some people with some form of information to create a scholarship board, they can give proposals to these institutions that would enable people from Barako access scholarships. We can use our political influence, and I believe we're building one. By God has blessed us people who are thinkers in that realm. And they are one way or the other involved in meetings, programs, committees, outside of the community, at the local government, at the state level, at the federal level. And they have information as to how some of these influences can be brought to the community. I think that it is not enough for anybody to pride himself in any of such forums without first thinking of how he or she can use those for us to better the lots of the people of our community educationally. These are some of my suggestions. There are so much more, but these are some actions we can take in terms of education to alleviate the state and status of our people, as it were, at this time. The second action that we must consider, and I think is important, is health. We have this common aphorism, this statement that I've heard since I was a child, that health is wealth. So health is very critical. If you're in a community where people have access to good health facilities, the people are bound to do well. Because when you're healthy, your thinking faculty, your sense of direction is far more active. So we must evolve as a people a plan, a Barako health plan that helps to sustain even the facilities that have been given to us by government. You know, we may have cottage hospital, community hospital, and all that. It's not enough that these structures are on ground and we're not taking advantage of these structures in ways that better our people. We can have a community plan for our own health facilities. So you find that why that of other communities are not functioning. Ours is functioning because we're collaborating with government institutions to ensure that we have functional healthcare for our people. With an informed plan, we can consistently ensure that we have that running. They are endangered or rather vulnerable people among us. We have our children. Our children must be healthy. They must be seen to be healthy, and that is the only way they can also do well in their education. We have pregnant women. We have our aged parents. Those of us who are far away in the diaspora, I mean, you want to be comfortable that your aged parents who are at home have facility that they can go to at any time that they have health challenges, because there's a doctor, there's a nurse, and there are medical facilities there, at least at the basic level, that can take care of them. This is possible. We don't need to wait for the government to effectively do this. If we as a community can sit down using both our professionals and non-professionals to articulate ways of making our facilities workable. I talk about agriculture and trade. Traditionally, and skills. Traditionally, we are farmers. We don't have so much of fishing in Barako. Even if the best we can do is stretch our fishing ponds to make it more commercial, which I think is something we can think into. I don't think it's rocket science. In Israel, the land was bare and dry, but today they are supplying agriculture to the other parts of the world, even in terms of technology. We need to stimulate our people's involvement in this area of their life. Growing up, we all went to the farm. That's where we got 90% or even 70%, or okay, let me be moderate, 70% of our livelihood from. Our aged parents today are still large farmers, and we need to become better. I was in the north for a good while, and I saw that while the other parts of the country struggle with farming, the north have unhindered access to funds that enable them mechanize their agriculture. I think if we sit down as a people and think, we can make farming more profitable for our people. One of the ways we can do that is, do we have a Barako cooperative society? If we don't have, I think it's time for us to be able to sit down and think about this. And this falls back to value. This falls back to the issue of transparency and integrity in leadership. So persons who have financial expertise, persons who have the capacity to bring some of these things to bear in the community must do so. And in doing so, they must understand that whatever they choose to do in this realm is for the good of the community. Because one of the things the cooperative society will do is that they give our people access to funds. The cooperative society can also be a society that can help to train our people in skill acquisition. Not everybody has the capacity for formal education. And yet, technical education is still one of the best forms of education in the world that can even make people from the community have access to further development and wealth to their well-being, even outside of the shores of this country, if they've been trained. So the cooperative society can do a lot to help ease the stress that goes with what we do traditionally at home. I also think that town planning is part of our strategic action for a great Barako community. There's a beauty we all feel when you walk into a community and you find that that community is organized in terms of its structures, building, in terms of the way the streets are laid out. So we cannot ignore town planning. You're having an event and you bring people into your community and the whole place is looking unorganized, dirty, unkept. It is not something that brings pride to you. So we must evolve an effective town planning. Growing up, I also know that Barako was planned. We have what we call John and Eri. Those are roads and zones and streets. We need to keep that. We need to maintain that. People are buying, we've grown. So you have so many persons now who are also acquiring new properties here and there in the community. It should be structured such that it still leaves the community beautiful and a good sight, when people come in. They leave as visitors and they keep saying it, that I went to that community was neat, that community was planned, that community was lovely. So town planning is part of an integral part of our development strategy that will help to make our community one that people will reference, amongst other communities. Yes, we've had security situations, and for that, it has made it difficult for many things to happen. But we must fall back to our unions. We must fall back to our associations. We must fall back to our groups. These are progressive units of the community that help to develop and evolve the best cultures of development for the community. You can't have everything done by a central planning point. So you have age groups whose interest is perhaps to provide a transformer for the community. You have women groups whose interest is to ensure that the marketplace is a good place when people come in. You have professional groups who come together and use their influence of reach to get influences in terms of developmental projects into the community. We must go back to these things as we evolve our greatness. They are integral actions that are important to finding and founding the greatness that we so desire and we should have as a people. Peace and security. Peace and security. We must evolve a security architecture for our community. So much so that people from outside who have some intents may not be able to come into our community to perpetuate any form of crime or cause mayhem, to our people. So it's important. We must have a plan for security for our community. That keeps our community safe. That keeps our community responsible. Even when we are out and people say, something like this happened in Barako, or Barako people do this kind of a thing, they will tell you it is not that community. Because when it comes to that community, there's a structured way in which issues are attended to. I think these are important. There are so many other points that may be relevant to the development of our community. But the last for me is politics. I have kept this last deliberately because of its effect on every other kind of development that we seek to achieve. Politics is very pervasive, but yet politics remains the most powerful instrument for development. And so, even though I am not a politician, I am not sure I seek or desire to be one, but we must encourage our politicians to remain in politics. We must encourage our politicians to move their politics beyond the local level and seek to be among the highest decision makers at the local government, at the state, and at the federal level. We must be deliberate about our politics as a people, subject to superior opinions. I never do believe that everybody should be in the same political movement. If we all belong to the same political party in the village, if there is a change of power, then it means that until power swings back to the system where we belong to, there will be no gains for the community. So it is comforting that we belong to different camps and different groups and political affiliations. However, what should be paramount to us is that our engagements and our involvements must be intended to bring development not only to ourselves, but to the community. So when you have that at mind, you really don't see your brother who belongs to the next political movement as an enemy, but you see him as driving another vehicle that is also intended to bring development wherever and however it suits. I must commend the current train that we have. I have seen the movements, and it is very, very encouraging that in spite of the fact that we are not in the same ship, we are yet working together for the good and greatness of our community. It is something that everyone who is coming behind must encourage. And I say this. I say this. We have not had it as good as we have it now. I go back again to say, growing up, our community was a force in politics in Gokana. I remember Guru Bossi was a politician. I remember Kade Virabin was a politician. I remember, I don't want to forget the name now, but if you're leaving the village towards the school by the left, I'm trying to remember the name now. I shouldn't forget it because it's somebody I talk about very often. Was also Samuel a very, yes, Samuel Lekaga was also a very strong politician in Gokana. He never made so much success in this thing, but he was so impactful. And I'm sure many of us who are in politics today are driven by the fact that some of those persons paid those prices for us to be involved. With the synergy we are building, I can assure every one of us that if we continue in that stride, it will be tested because people would come around to want to divide us. It will be tested because people would think that we don't deserve to have what we have. It will be tested because people would also want to tell stories, and many of those stories will not be true. Howbeit, we need to remain consistent, knowing that what is important is the good of our community, the well-being of our community. If you make $1 billion today and you build $1 billion house in Barako, and you don't have $1 billion security in Barako, you may not be able to live in that apartment. And we can see the testimonies with the events of the past. That is not what we want. We all want our children to come back to the village, visit our farms, visit our streams, bathe in those streams the way we did, drink from from whatever we have, that is available to the village, and identify with the system. This we must do together. It is not one person's effort. Again, we are fortunate. We are lucky. God has blessed us with the kind of leadership that we have now in our paramount ruler. He is young, but yet has shown the wisdom of Solomon, in driving the forces of development in our community. We need to support him. We need to continue to pray for him. We must seek his good and avoid the things that will destroy this milestone. That we've gotten as a people.
Don't interrupt, please. Please, don't interrupt. Mute yourself. If you are in the background in the hall, please lower down your voice. This is a very important and passionate movement. We need to pay attention.
I'm sorry, I am almost in tears myself. Because for those of us who grew up knowing what our community was like, we've seen things happen. And if for the past, we would have been better than what we are now in many ways. We can't afford to go back to where we came from, because there's nothing in that past that gives us a future. Let's love ourselves and respect ourselves. Let's protect ourselves as a community. Let's not expose our people to the things that they should not be exposed to. The trust of our community should be our first trust. We've seen communities in Gokana rise to become strongholds in power. They've done it through their own strategic movements. We can do better than that. We can achieve more than that. We have the sons and the daughters with the capacity and the ability to become the great and greatest that we can think of in our society. No child born in Barako is less privileged. Any child can be anything. And we need to support every child to become what they would want to be. And this we can only do if we support the current leadership and have a roadmap. So I propose, in closing all of this, that we have a Barako master plan. The Barako master plan will address all of the areas of interest of development that will bring our community where it should be. We have human resources, and I believe as we evolve gradually, we will also have all of the financial capacity to get the things that we need done, be done for our people. Thank you so much for listening. And I pray that we take this summit home and use this summit to grow ourselves and to grow our community. I'm grateful for the opportunity to be a speaker at this event. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Barrister.
Good job.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, 10 participants.
We can hear you.
Okay.
Huh?
Once again,
I'm not hearing. No.
Once again, I will give applause to Pastor Sigaro. So then our now listen to the following. Tomorrow, all the leaders will be church. What time is the church? Okay, so 9 a.m. we shall all gather and worship at the Methodist Church Barako for a Thanksgiving service. The God that give us the grace for us to have this program since yesterday. Yesterday, the rain, everything was trembling. And so the glory of God He gave us the grace. We gather and the lectures are so impactful, very inspiring. Today we are also here successful, no incident. So we have this one thing will be turned thanks unto God Almighty. So that is in the morning. Then after that, we shall have a feedback section, reflections and recommendations. We'll do that at the palace. Feedback section. So those are our brothers in the overseas. That's why they not join us. It is only us. So we'll get somebody that we'll sit down and do all the things we plan. Start after our service tomorrow. After that, our dynamic level, digital level, will tell us something. Okay, I know you are missing.
Yes. Okay.
Okay. So
yeah.
Okay. So before the chairman, Christian Association of Nigeria, Barako chapter, will give us closing prayer. Let me appreciate the summit planning committee hereby expresses our profound gratitude to God Almighty who has granted us the grace to host this leadership summit, Barako Leadership Summit 2021. We thank the natural ruler and member of Barako, His Royal Highness, Mene Camilo Balina Kappa, Pedro Service, for his unreaching to royal support throughout the preparatory and the performing stage of this great event of our time. We also extend our appreciation to our very own son, the executive chairman of the Ghana Government Area, Honorable C.N. Teko, who despite his tight schedule found time to personally plan up summit. Finally, we applaud the generosity of our brother, friend, son, Pastor Tuka Barako, who initiated and sponsored this noble idea. May God bless you richly, Pastor, in the name of Jesus Christ. To the glory of God Almighty, Barako will be having a 21st century compliance leadership as a result of this program. May God bless every one of us in the name of Jesus. And can also join us at our different places of our hope in Jesus' name. Now, this is the Association of Nigeria Barako Chapter. Reverend Tennessee, Alabama.
Well, great God, we thank you for this hour, we thank you for this day. We thank you for these 2 days of lecture and tomorrow is assembly. We thank you for the peace, we thank you for the love, we thank you for the guidance, we thank you for protection. We thank you for our brothers and brothers. We know the Lord is working in Jesus' name. Lord, we ask for continuity in this progress. Ask for your power and work and empowerment, community and every sense of the community. Thank you. In Jesus' name.
Amen. Amen. Thank you all.
All right, thank you, everybody.
Yes. Okay.
Okay.
It has been a great time.
Yeah.
Great time. Yes. Auntie
Yes, we need a group picture. We need a-
Boys, more.
Kamera kumwandene boys aye.
Man, Kadilo,
Take a group picture. Please, everybody, please.
Tuka bari bo bari akmeneni.
Guys, we need a group picture, please. And don't let Chief go without taking the group picture, please. Someone should let him know we need a group picture. Jason, wisdom.
I don't think you are even hearing.
That's someone I like.
Faith, if you are hearing, tell him now. Kone biakara
We need a
media.
group picture of everybody, please. Everybody gather around Chief and let's take a group picture.
Faith double. Call him back.
Okay.
Can you text him, so that we
Picture
yeah,
back
so
over.
that